All right, welcome to this Premium Explainer. Today, we're stepping right into the absolute heart of modern hotel operations. We're going to explore a topic that's practically the engine of any high-performing property, the really intricate, sometimes tricky balance of flexible labor. Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. I am pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. We look forward to supporting your professional growth in the hospitality industry.
So, our agenda today covers 5 key areas. First, our welcome to professional hospitality. Second, the flexible labor landscape. Third, categories of flexible workers. Fourth, training and communication standards. And finally, number 5, ethical flexibility as strategy. Moving right along to Section 2, the flexible labor landscape, balancing demand and legal complexity. Look, if you've spent literally any time in a luxury hotel lobby, behind a bustling front desk, or even in a back office revenue meeting, you already know this. Our industry doesn't operate on a perfect, predictable 9-to-5 rhythm, right? Guest demand fluctuates daily, weekly, and definitely seasonally. Because of this, flexible employment isn't just some backup plan or an exception to the rule. It is a defining feature of the hospitality industry. Relying on flexible staff is standard operating procedure. It's the secret sauce that allows modern hotels to keep their doors open and their service standards impeccably high, no matter the season. Now, notice the inherent tension here. On one hand, we have operational advantages. Flexibility allows hotels to be super agile, responding immediately to a sudden influx of conference attendees or a huge seasonal tourist boom. But on the other hand, we face legal complexity. This operational agility, it cannot exist in a vacuum. It requires absolutely strict adherence to labor laws. We have a fundamental duty to ensure fair treatment and protections for every single worker who steps into our facilities. You simply cannot have that operational advantage without completely mastering the legal compliance. They go hand in hand. All right, Section 3, categories of flexible workers, specifically part-time, seasonal, and casual. Let's kick things off with part-time workers. By definition, these are employees who work fewer hours than your full-time staff, but I want you to notice the second half of that definition. They perform comparable roles. Whether someone is working 20 hours a week or 40, if they're managing the front desk or running the restaurant service, the core value and the nature of their work remains entirely comparable. And crucially, the law views this comparability with very strict protections. Part-time workers are absolutely protected from discrimination. They're entitled to proportional access to pay, to leave, and to benefits. The absolute most important takeaway for you here is that a worker's part-time status can never, under any circumstances, be used to justify inferior working conditions. Period. As a manager, treating your part-time staff differently in terms of their baseline respect and legal rights is a massive compliance failure. It's just not how we do things. Next up, we look at seasonal workers. Picture this, a high-end resort during the peak of summer, or maybe a luxury ski lodge in December. Seasonal workers are literally the lifeblood of these periods. They're employed specifically to handle these massive, predictable spikes in guest volume. They are very often engaged on fixed-term contracts that cover just those busy months. But listen closely, because here is a trap that so many inexperienced managers fall right into. Seasonal demand does not exempt hotels from labor law obligations. Let me say that again. The intense pressure of peak season, the back-to-back bookings, the fully booked dining rooms, none of that hits the pause button on legal compliance. Your fixed-term contracts must still rigorously adhere to the legal standards of your jurisdiction. No excuses. Okay, to summarize these frameworks, try to keep this mental model with you. We have the part-time worker with their focus on proportional rights. Then we have the seasonal worker who is tied to fixed-term contract compliance. And third, we introduce the casual worker. Now, their core characteristic is maximum flexibility. But note the key legal focus here. It's about the reality of working patterns versus labels. Let's unpack that casual worker category a little bit more because it is highly scrutinized. Courts and labor boards focus on the actual reality of the working patterns, not just what's typed at the top of an employment contract. A contractual label of casual is not always an ironclad defense. If you have a so-called casual worker who is consistently logging regular, predictable hours week after week, that reality can trigger additional employee rights. Misusing the casual classification presents some really significant legal and financial risks to a hotel property. It's something you definitely want to get right. Moving on to Section 4, Training and Communication Standards, integrating the flexible workforce. It's incredibly common in fast-paced environments for training to just get overlooked.
However, labor law dictates that all employees, completely regardless of their employment status, receive appropriate training and safe working conditions. A part-time housekeeper or a casual banquet server has the exact same right to a safe environment and proper procedural training as your full-time executive staff. No exceptions. So this builds into an actionable management strategy in 3 very clear steps. Step 1, establish clear contracts and expectations from day 1. Step 2, implement transparent scheduling practices. And Step 3, provide that appropriate and equal training we just discussed. This right here is exactly how you build a cohesive, unified team out of a group with highly varied schedules. When you actually follow those steps, the benefits are immediately visible, both on the floor and in your revenue reports. Proper integration directly improves overall service quality. Guests shouldn't be able to tell who is full-time and who is seasonal, right? Plus, it dramatically reduces workplace accidents because everyone knows the safety protocols. It reduces costly misunderstandings. Ultimately, transparent communication aligns operational flexibility with genuine fairness, and that builds profound trust within your team. And finally, Section 5. Ethical flexibility as strategy, competitiveness in professional hospitality. We've spent this explainer looking closely at rules, regulations, and protections. But the ultimate takeaway isn't just about avoiding lawsuits. The effective management of flexible workers actively supports the resilience and the competitiveness of the hotel. Properties that master this complex dance, they are so much better equipped to handle market shocks, weather seasonal shifts, and maintain their stellar reputation for excellence. This is what we call the strategic advantage. Respecting labor law yields massive reputational advantages, both with guests who really value corporate responsibility and in the highly competitive labor market where top talent wants to work for ethical employers. It gains you real operational efficiencies because a well-trained, fairly treated, flexible workforce is incredibly productive. Ethical flexibility is, quite simply, a hallmark of professional management. And that is exactly why mastering this balance is treated as a key competency at Europe Hotel School London. It's what separates average supervisors from true industry leaders. So, as you continue your online learning journey and step into the fast-paced reality of modern hotel operations, I leave you with this final thought. Will you view flexible labor simply as a legal hurdle to be managed, or will you embrace it as your ultimate tool for ethical competitiveness? The choice will define your career in professional hospitality. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I look forward to supporting your continued growth.